Hello, Michael Bull here with America's Commercial Real Estate Show. We're at the NAR 2017 Conference and Expo in Chicago. We have Joseph Nahas here. He's the 2018 chair of the CRE Counselors of Real Estate. Joseph, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Michael. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good. And Joseph, I think there's a lot of people that don't really understand what CRE counselors are. I mean, CRE is a registered trademark of the counselors of real estate. I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of CRE counselors. Unbelievable people. The group of people that are members of CRE are upper echelon. So tell us how this group got started.
Well, thank you for that acknowledgement. We like to think the same. So we consider ourselves thought leaders in the industry. Our focus is primarily commercial. We hold ourselves out to attract members who really have prominence in their field, who have demonstrated expertise and influence in decision making and other matters with respect to their clients. And we put them actually through a fairly rigorous invitation process in order for them to be awarded the credential. And so I think that's why you see the caliber of the folks who are within our ranks.
Yeah, and tell the audience a little bit about some of the people's names that they may have seen that are members.
Oh boy, where do I begin? We're about 1,000 strong. Yeah. We've actually picked up a nice international showing as well. But familiar names for folks in the commercial space might be gentlemen such as Ray Tordo of Tordo Wheaton, Pete Corpaz, who over the years has done the Corpaz study, which is a significant commercial real estate investment study. I'm somewhat embarrassed to say if I mention many more, I'm going to afraid of the people who I've not mentioned. Exactly.
Well, that's a good point. And then you guys put out a report every year of kind of the top 10 issues affecting real estate. When does that come out? And if you had to pick one top issue affecting real estate moving forward, what might that be?
So that's a process that our External Affairs Committee oversees, and it's an engaging process where we interact with our 1,000 members. We ask them to essentially weigh in on what they see in their work as affecting real estate, and through a survey and ranking and frankly a debate process, we narrow that list down. That happens in the spring of each year. And then we release that in June officially, and then we'll carry that kind of on our roadshow, if you will, throughout the year. So tomorrow I'll be presenting it to an NAR meeting here, and then we'll actually begin the process shortly of launching next springs. To answer the question as to what's the top one, well, the number one ranking is the political and economic uncertainty that's going on today. But I think the theme of our top 10, most of them would probably fall into a theme we call disruption. What items are having an impact or disrupting practice and things that are happening in the real estate space?
Yeah, I'd like to be in that room when you're debating. Hey, what really makes the top 10? You know, and so what do you think about? You guys think, and you think about the commercial real estate market moving forward? I mean, we've been in a great cycle, good times. People think interest rates are going to rise, right? It's kind of what we're expecting. What do you expect moving forward for commercial real estate in general?
Well, it's interesting. We just heard this morning one of our members, Casey Conway, who gave a presentation on disruption. He included in his presentation a few comments on where he sees the market going. He's actually quite optimistic. He's discounting all the notions in the media regarding the length of this recovery and is it time to wrap it up. And his view is that if you look at the underlying fundamentals, in reality, there isn't any particular reason to peg a date in the near to medium future that it's going to come to an end. So we really believe in the fundamentals with respect to the housing market, multifamily primarily, but even office and commercial in general is solid because you have so many markets which have had so little supply added in a modestly growing economy, which allows us to absorb vacancy, maybe raise rents, and not be concerned about overbuilding at this stage.
Right. Well, that's good to hear, and I think you're right. It's a different cycle this time than hopefully maybe we've ever seen. So you guys get together and do some things kind of pro bono, right? Tell us about some of the things that you guys of CRE counselors have done around the world.
Well, this is one of our initiatives in what we call the branding area, areas where we're looking to branch out and demonstrate what we can do as counselors. It's a group called the Consulting Corps that you, I think, are referring to, and they also today did a presentation and included a case study of an assignment we did with the city of Fairborn, Ohio. And essentially what happens is we will go to primarily nonprofits, government agencies, hospitals, things of that nature, where they have a problem, a real estate problem that needs a solution.
Yeah.
And we will essentially assign a cadre of experts in the area of their problem, if you will, and we'll essentially launch in for a week of really intense study, interviews, and analysis. And out of that will come a fairly well-written, concise report with recommendations for their solution.
I like that. So you actually ask questions and listen. That's a great concept, right?
That needs to happen more often in a lot of places.
So if our audience wants to get more information on CRE counselors, and I think one thing is interesting, it is part of NAR. To have such an upper echelon of commercial real estate people and real estate people is amazing, because I think a lot of people think of NAR as residential. So how can they find out more information?
Sure. Well, first of all, our headquarters is based here in Chicago. We're in the Realtor building. And I'm sure our staff would be happy to welcome folks who want to stop by and say hello. But of course, go to our website, cre.org, where you can learn about both membership as well as background on existing members and their specialties throughout the international space.
All right, Joe, thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Thank you, Mike.